See Kyle Richards' bold statement about her health journey. Kyle Richards admits some days require faint confidence. On Thursday, May 15, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member returned to Instagram to share an inside look at her fitness routine and the way she's getting through a roller coaster month. The post showed Kyle working up a sweat in her Encino home gym as one of her family dogs hung out in the background. "Today's a fake it till you make it kind of day," she captioned the story. Although the sentiment was relatable, it's unclear what prompted Kyle to share the post. But what we do know is that the Beverly Hills mom recently experienced an emotional week with several highs and a heartbreaking low. Kyle Richards mourns the loss of her family pet. The update came just days after the death of Kyle's beloved German Shepherd, River. The housewife announced the sad news in a May 10 Instagram post in which she reflected on her 11-year bond with the rescue pup. "River was a foster fail that was so grateful for being rescued and never left my side," Kyle wrote. "She would wait in the window until I got home every day, sit on the bath mat while I showered, slept in my room, making sure I was always in sight. She lived to be 15 years old. I'm grateful she's at peace and no longer suffering, but her absence will no doubt be painful. We love you, River." Kyle Richards' Mother's Day weekend with Mauricio Umansky and their girls. Shortly after the announcement, Kyle gathered with friends and family for a pre-Mother's Day outing in Los Angeles. She shared the experience in a series of Instagram photos and videos shot at Beecher Fest 2025, an annual event hosted at the Roosevelt Hotel. Kyle was joined by her estranged husband, Mauricio Umansky, their oldest daughters, Alexia Umansky and Sophia Umansky, as well as her firstborn, Farrah Brittany, whom she shares with her first husband. "Had so much fun at our pre-Mother's Day Girls' Night Out at Beecher's Madhouse with my family," she captioned a clip of her dancing beside Farrah and her niece Nikki Hilton. Hours after the event, Kyle received sweet Mother's Day messages from Alexia, Sophia, and Farrah. "Luckiest ever to have her as my mom," the latter wrote on Instagram. As many fans know, 2025 will mark exciting milestones for Kyle's family. The mother of four will continue to tour colleges with her 17-year-old daughter, Portia Umansky, and Alexia will tie the knot with her longtime beau, Jake Zingerman, in early September. Still standing, Kyle's season of change. River's window. Kyle Richards stood at the edge of her Encino home gym, bathed in late morning sunlight that streamed through a large window where River used to sit. Her German Shepherd had claimed that spot every morning for over a decade, waiting loyally for Kyle to return from events, shoots, even coffee runs. Now the window sat empty. Kyle's hand hovered over the treadmill's start button. She wasn't sure if she had it in her today. Her legs felt heavy, her heart even more so. She glanced behind her, where her other dog, Luna, was curled up, sensing the shift in the home's energy since River passed. "Today's a fake it till you make it kind of day," Kyle whispered to herself. She stared. As the treadmill whirred to life, she found herself watching the mirror instead of her pace. Sweat didn't come as quickly as it normally did. Motivation was playing hard to get. And yet, as her feet struck the belt rhythmically, something stirred in her, grief and strength wrestling for space in her chest. River was gone, but Kyle was still here, still standing, still showing up, even when her heart was cracked open like a dropped porcelain vase. The house that grief visits. The house felt different without River. There were moments Kyle expected to hear her nails clicking across the hardwood or the soft sigh she let out before curling up at the foot of the bed. Kyle had faced loss before, her mother, her estranged relationships, and public scrutiny that turned private pain into entertainment. But this one hit differently. River had been a constant through seasons of her life, a silent protector, a shadow of loyalty. After posting her goodbye on Instagram, Kyle had expected the usual condolences. But what she didn't expect was the deluge of messages from fans. many of whom shared their own grief over losing pets. Some thanked her for normalizing mourning an animal like a human. Others shared stories of their own foster fails who had become their best friends. The empathy comforted her, but still, silence filled the rooms like fog. It was during one of those quiet moments, sitting alone in her bedroom with River's collar in her lap, that Kyle realized how much she'd neglected her own healing. She had been pushing pain down, letting workouts and work schedules smother it. River's absence peeled that facade back. She needed more than sweat to get through this. She needed transformation. Sweat, tears, and soul work. Kyle's fitness journey wasn't just about aesthetics anymore. It hadn't been for a long time. It was about agency, about reclaiming her body from the control of cameras and critics, from the weight of judgment she'd carried since she was a child actress and, later, a real housewife. This time, her workouts became rituals of recovery. Morning meditations, midday cardio, evening yoga in silence, sometimes with tears streaming down her cheeks while holding a child's pose. "I'm not running from grief anymore," she told her trainer one morning. "I'm running through it." He nodded, adjusting the incline on her treadmill. "Then let it move with you. Don't lock it in your body." Still, there were setbacks, days she couldn't move. Days the mirror reflected not progress, but emptiness. Days she skipped workouts and instead curled up in River's old blanket. But Kyle was learning that healing isn't linear, and strength isn't loud. Sometimes it's the quiet decision to just stand up. A night of glitter and ghosts. Mother's Day weekend arrived like an uninvited guest. Kyle wasn't sure she was ready for the emotions it would stir. But she put on a brave face, a shimmering silver dress, and gathered her girls, Farah, Alexia, Sophia, and even Portia, though she grumbled at the idea of going anywhere too early. Beecher Fest 2025 was absurd and wild, like most of her Hollywood-adjacent social life. There were contortionists, strobe lights, and celebrity impersonators dancing on stilts. And in the middle of it all, Kyle found herself smiling. A real, unexpected smile, as she twirled with Farah on the dance floor. Mauricio was there too. They weren't where they used to be. Their relationship had changed, cracked, evolved into something new. But that night, under disco lights and old-school music, they weren't estranged partners. They were family. "Still the best dance partner I've had," he said, catching her hand in a moment of nostalgia. Kyle smiled. "One of us has to lead." He laughed. "You always did." For a moment, it was like nothing had changed. For a moment, she let herself enjoy the illusion. Later, back at home, Kyle posted a clip from the night and captioned it. "Had so much fun at our pre-Mother's Day girls' night out at Beecher's Madhouse with my family." But once the makeup came off and the heels were kicked aside, the grief returned, soft and persistent. Like River used to be. Portia's eyes. Portia was 17 and brilliant. She had her father's calm, her mother's spark, and a mind that danced between dreams and fears like a tightrope walker. Kyle and Portia had been spending weekends touring colleges, Berkeley, NYU, UCLA. Each campus walk was a reminder of time's relentless push forward. "Are you scared?" Kyle asked one night, while they ate takeout in a hotel room after a college visit. Portia looked at her. "Of leaving? Kind of changing?" "Definitely." Kyle nodded. "Me too." Portia blinked, surprised. "But you're you." "I'm someone who spent the last 20 years convincing herself she had it all figured out." "Do you?" Kyle smiled. "Not even close." That night, they watched old home videos. River was in every frame, sniffing baby Portia's feet, running circles in the backyard, barking at the vacuum. "I'm glad you shared her with us," Portia said softly. "I'm glad she chose us," Kyle replied. The mirror, again. Back in her home gym a week later, Kyle paused before her workout. She studied her reflection, not the carefully curated version, but the unfiltered one. The woman who had loved hard, lost deeply, and kept showing up. She saw the fine lines, the tired eyes, the muscle tone she fought to maintain. But she also saw resilience. She saw someone in process. Kyle turned on her playlist, River's favorite, filled with mellow acoustic songs that used to soothe her during thunderstorms. She began to move. No treadmill today, just dance. Arms raised, hair wild, no choreography, no performance. Just presence. Alexia's wedding. In early September, Kyle stood on the edge of a vineyard in Napa Valley, watching her daughter Alexia prepare to walk down the aisle. The day was perfect, cloudless, golden, like a memory before it's even happened. Jake stood at the altar, looking nervous and elated. Kyle reached for Mauricio's hand beside her. He squeezed it once, no longer with the certainty of a spouse, but with the love of a co-pilot on this parenting journey. As Alexia walked forward, a white rose pinned to her bouquet, a nod to River, who had loved playing in the flower beds. Kyle felt a swell of gratitude so large it hurt. This, she thought, is what survival looks like. Not just getting through pain, but finding joy again. Epilogue, the letter. One quiet morning in October, Kyle sat in her kitchen, pen in hand, writing a letter to herself. Her therapist had suggested the exercise. Write to the version of you who was broken. Tell her what she needs to know.